Hello Cape Codders, welcome to the Scannell Agenda. This is show number 33, part 2 of sanitation systems. Now I just mentioned kind of a wild and crazy idea about sewage-fed wood chips as terry dough feed. Because I do a lot of work in the area of reef systems, I guess sometimes these systems that I work on overlap, which makes it really valuable, I think, valuable work. So using wood that has been sewage treated as a feed for terry dough, and then using that as a feed for, let's say, dressing an apple tree or what have you. That, I just thank God for all these ideas. Some of them I think are good. I do think so. So today's date is August 27th, 2015. And I'd just like to take time out to thank everyone here, Susan, Jamie, Ivan, everybody at the Cape Cod Channel 99 here, Cape Cod Community Media Center. They're really great folks here, and they put up with me pretty good. All right, now here's one: sewage boat housing development. This has to do with the category, obviously, of sewage, but also it's a boat, and also it's a tidal mill. Tidal mill vertical. There's two tidal genres that I work in, and one of them is vertical, that is the up and down of the tides, we call them tides, and then there's the horizontal would be the current. The tide is running out, you know, tide's coming up, tide's running out. Okay. So the big presses would operate on a huge vessel that had a lot of tankage, and it would go up and down with the tide, and on each up and down cycle there would be a power stroke, up and down. When you're coming up, when the boat is coming up, if you've ever seen a boat get caught with its rail under the pier and then pop out with tremendous force, you'll know there's a lot of power even when the tide comes up, and that can be harnessed. And of course, when the tide is coming down, your boat is moving down, that's a lot of weight pressing down. So that's a hydraulic press, basically. So we can use large vessels, and it can be housing, and it's probably going to be waterfront, but it's a sewage system. So you want the bang for the buck. If you can manage to get several payouts from a thing, you're really doing something. Closed system grass fence. Here's a nice little invention here. It's about household. You know, you see the ornamental grasses. Okay, so this would be fencing. Basically, it would be built up containers that would contain your pots. And right now you think of it as ornamental grass, but down the road you might think of it as grass that would be getting and using the nutrients that you're feeding it from your home. And it could be you and your neighbors. So you'd have probably your grapey, I call it. That is your urine and gray water. And that would be irrigating these closed systems that would also do double duty as a fence. And maybe you could have a trellis on top. And it'd be very nice looking, very nice fencing. There you go, double duty, right? You've got a beautiful fence between residences. And it just happens to be a sewage treatment facility as well. What do we have here? Shrub Reef Works. Now these biosystems that uptake the sewage or what have you. If you combine these with the farm and the reef work that I've done, a lot of times what you'll get is a reef that uses shrubs, whether it's just the shrubbery or plasticized shrubbery, as a reef for shrimp, let's say. So you're killing two birds with one stone, and you're not putting your toxic materials, mostly it's pharmaceuticals, but I'm not really sure. There's probably other things. We live in a toxic world. I don't like it. Well, I'll stay. Okay, I didn't mean to complain. But it's toxic, a lot of toxins. Everything from your carpet to the paint we use to the food and genetic stuff going on. Plasticized bamboo root mat. This is a reef system based on the containers are sized to fit the reef, and you haul out your roots after 10 years of growing out your bamboo and harvesting your bamboo from your algae water, plain water. Could be top dressing with your number 2. You could be using the grapey or any combination thereof of these bioproducts that we produce. Or farm waste too can be used. What do we have here? Large closed vent sewage maple for a house. So these are, that's too complicated to get into. It's several systems. You've got solar algae on the roof, and then that is feeding into an overflow tank. You've got a closed system, grass, and then you've got trees that are in a separate pot, large trees, and this looks like 1, 2, 3, 3, 10. That's 12 trees in a basin. And the system can run on the dry side, or you can give it water. So that's a complex system for your home, and your macerate your number 2, and it gets used. It's a biosystem for your home. Ribbon prison, closed systems, a specialty. This is sewage, tripe, and water system. So if we have a coast-to-coast monorail for the ribbon prison for Mexico, well, maybe I was thinking the other day, maybe Canada wants to build their fence for us to keep the Americans out. Wouldn't that be a hoot? They're all running for their offices now too, you know. So maybe some of those Canadians should say, hey, shouldn't we build a fence down there and keep those Americans out? We're not so bad, right? Well, anyway. People must get better the farther north you go, right? Is that about it? I'm just kidding around. So ribbon prison, closed systems, coast to coast, that's about 1,968, I think, miles, bike paths and walkways and resort communities along the way. Gated communities or jail, you know, penal, or gated communities, retirement, and make that the area where we do these specialized bamboo switchgrass, maybe corn, different things on the border. We have the space down there, it's secluded and it's ready, and as you know, I might take on Donald Trump as my running mate if I run, if I haven't throw my hat in the ring. So, well, maybe he'll hear about me with these systems. And he wants to build a fence. I'd like to be one of the guys proposing the ribbon prison fencing system down there. And he was talking about Mexico is going to build this for us. Well, I think that's just the boss getting mad and irritated, okay? But actually, we could have plenty of Mexicans helping us to build this fence. And that might be nice. It's good. It's good work. We need secure borders. And they could be very friendly, secure borders too. It could be a tripe system 1 to 2 miles from the border, closed system fencing with the sewage and the biomass. And all this tripe system stuff goes very well with the ribbon prison that I have designed for the border. What's this? Mechanized ornamental grass pot and divider system. Okay, that's for splitting your ornamental grasses and bumping them up. I did a little bit of greenhouse work, and bumping things up is always what you're doing in the greenhouse, repotting. So you'll need, if you have a lot of these biosewage systems, you'll have to have a lot of starter plants that are ready to come in, and you know that'll be all a big part of the biotreatment if we go that route. With the tripe system and with the how to green the earth, you know, these sewage systems that I've got here would be very helpful, some of them maybe. Okay, bamboo reinforced plastic. And as with shellfishing, you know, a lot of fishermen, you know, they understand the shellfish when it gets big. They understand all about it. But there's a life cycle with everything from start to finish, and then end use or recycle it or compost it. Bamboo reinforced plastic as closed system pot for more bamboo. In other words, building these closed systems is going to require us to build a lot of pots that are, you know, lined and safe and won't drain out and get into Mother Nature. Probably using a lot of plastics and fiber from plants, from the bamboo, whatever, you know, could be from hemp or cotton or some other natural fiber, or man-made fiber, fiberglass. Deep drainage basin for closed system. Yep. So all these systems want to be able to run dry. As any gardener knows, you plants in your greenhouse, you've got to harden them up a little bit once in a while. Can't just be wet all the time. Okay. This is building a liner for a large farm system that would be closed system. Maple starters for closed system, how to start the maple and get that going, and then how to transplant it into its proper place in a larger system. Recycle liner for pond, more of that. Floating closed sewage. Floating closed sewage, okay, that's kind of one of the genres I work in. Let's say you've got a pond or you make a pond. So you've got your pond, and if your pond is suitable, you can use it for algae, to produce algae. And then you can float upon the pond your plants that are in pots. And this can produce a lot of building materials, fuels, and what have you, reef materials. And at the same time, where did I see this? There was something, it was in the newspaper at my clubhouse, and it said interesting facts. 4 trees, I think it was, I don't know what size tree, produce enough oxygen for a family of, no, 2 trees produce enough oxygen for a family of 4. I said, wow, I've never heard that. I didn't know how much these plants produce. But they suck up the CO2 and they produce oxygen. So that's why we have to green the earth. It's a matter of how to. I'm not convincing you. Obviously, you probably know this if you got half a brain. You've known this for years, but we've got to get into these forward-thinking systems. Last cycle for the bamboo to the reef. This is about how to get the bamboo roots to the reef. I get all involved with that. And it's kind of funny because no one's listening to me, and I've often said, well, we could talk about the Scannell agenda as a sleep aid. But I did post on Chelsea Green the other day. I would like some help getting this stuff published. And you know, I work on a 30-to-1 ratio. That's probably overdoing it. But 30-to-1 with one idea and 30 being somewhat passable, that might be overdoing it. Maybe like 100-to-1, I'm not sure. But if it's 100-to-1, I'm in great shape. Sewage farm Phragmites leaf and brush cake. Okay. This is for urinals. Controlled burns forestry. So this is a material to soak up urine and then to use that. This would be for household use. And this could be mechanized or it could be, I wouldn't want to handle it. I'd rather it mechanized, you know. But you got to start out slow. You got to start out testing the concepts. You know, what do you use for urine cake to soak up urine, and then how do you put that in a pot and make things grow? You put the urine cake into bamboo situation, and then the bamboo starts taking off, and you bump it up and send the bamboo pot down to the farm. Okay, refrigerated urine system. This is for plumbing. Plumb the urinal into a closed section of the home. Refrigerator, hold cold in tank. Sensors send many units cold to transport or freeze. Urine is one of those things that wants to be fresh. And I believe the number 2 bioproducts want to be handled fresh, and they want to start their life out into a recomposting and life. They want to start out right from the word, on the first day, inoculation with living organisms. But if you can't, and if that's not really that feasible, then you want to cool them or freeze them, and then, because I believe the chemistry of urine changes over time. So if you get it while it's fresh, and there are people that can speak on this a lot more, you know. Carol Steinfeld, who wrote this book that I recommend. I gave it to the sewage department in Hyannis. They have it now. I wish I could hold it up. I'll have to get another book. It's called Liquid Gold. I studied that. I think I read it 2 or 3 times. Now that's kind of a foundation for me doing this work here. And if I didn't believe in that, then I wouldn't be doing this work. These biosystems are the way to go. We handle our sewage like we poison it and pipe it and try to hide it, and it's not the way to do it. Groups of poops. This is stupid. A book? History of sanitation systems by area, by the time and by the period, and get all into writing a book on poop. I could do that. You know, there's a lot to all this sanitation stuff. So sanitation engineers might find this to be very interesting. I find it to be interesting. Maybe a lot of green people, environmental people find this stuff to be very cutting edge. And you know, your real green people have your composting toilets, etc. And they're not cutting edge. They're already arrived. You know, they're handling their own. They're off the grid with the sewer, and you know, they're going green all the way. Sewage and fundraise. TP, toilet paper fundraiser. Oh my God, I'm going off the deep end here. $5 per 4-pack. Selling toilet paper. Oh geez, I hope no one watches this show. 50% goes to the fund, sponsored by a high-end toilet paper company. So you know, that's all part of it. The toilet paper companies, here we get Northern. And just like to say, hello Priscilla, I worked for Priscilla Skank. She was from the Great Northern Paper Company, biggest landowners in the state of Maine. And anyway, she was a good friend of mine. I worked on her yachts, the Capri, Capri 2, Capri 3, as a kid in high school. She came from the big money, big paper companies. You know, that's paper and pulp. And I visited those with the Boy Scouts too on Nantucket. We went to Maine, went on a trip there. Decorative tissue boxes, visiting chickens. Oh, I haven't talked about that. Retail. Well, a truck shows up and have a big fundraiser selling toilet paper. Things need to be funded and things need to be, you know, these biosystems will need us. There'll be maybe a few characters, the cream will rise to the top, and I can be a toilet paper salesperson for the cause, for the green cause. That might be fun. You know, what do we have here? Cone, wood, sand, sewage, algae, tumbler. Okay, yep, that's cone wood. Yeah, that's for producing from cut branches, small cut branches, basically putting them like you would rocks or shells in a sand tumbler, sand and gravel tumbler, and you would come out with this product that you would use for sewage treatment. Fresh frozen, I can't say that. Value to plants. Value to plants better than fresh. This is about farm stuff too. Frozen. All right. Sorry. Extra nice parade potty ink. Oh, this is in the area of sewage and fun. It's a parade float with the ladies' room and men's room on board the float itself. It's actually a running parade item that you can get on board and get off, you know, and it's cute, it's funny. So that's all part of it. That is all part of it, all this fun stuff. Sometimes you need a little bit of that, especially on touchy subjects like our bioproducts, number 1 and number 2. People can be very put out by, you know, they don't want to talk about it. It's part of these green systems, and there's no way of getting around it. We got to redesign how we live on this planet, and we have to green the earth. So, what's this one? Anti-fouling toilet wax or paint. Transducer paint, bottom wax, okay. Well, I don't know. Painting your toilet with anti-growth stuff might not be a good idea. Maybe it'll be a good idea. Pancake grow bag, sewage, farm, how to green the earth. Yeah, this is all stuff that would be this is a big bag, and it's got a ring of black polyethylene, and it's got bamboo or other, and then the bamboo grows, and you lose very little water to evaporation because it's all covered, and then the roots expand into the bag, and it's kind of like popcorn, and then so that's mostly hydroponics, and then you'd keep harvesting the bamboo, and then you'd ship the roots out, and strip off the plastic and ship the roots out to the reef. Roots to the reef. Here is sewage. Okay, this is a scale model. 8 inches equals 1 mile. This is an 8-mile long pond boat. All right. It's about huge algae ponds and sewage ponds that are in a boat. You wouldn't need structural strength really for the boat. I call it 8-mile long boat. It would just be tankage, floating tankage. Okay. Teetotally toilet flush. What is this? Sewage and tripe. Poop to the mincer with compost. Use tea as a water source. That is your compost tea. This is about these sewage systems that start right from the appliance at home. So to the mincer means compost mincing. In other words, you could go out and collect your compost. And you actually have a mincer at home, you know, and it would be all very much from your backyard, from the woods nearby, or your paper boy could help you out. Then you'd have drainage water, non-poop tea, of course. This is what I wrote, non-poop tea, of course. Wood chip biofilter for the tea. Now the grapey tank and planter with a mini pond. This is about sewage. It's about using the planter as also a storage tank for the grapey. That's gray water and urine. And you've got your algae production, and probably your algae production goes as a tea of sorts to the plants. And then you've got, you know, a drainage area where you are looking at taking away what's left of the moisture and then either sending it back to the loop or something else. Dry straw seed base. Dry straw seed base. It's a farm sewage idea. Well, it's been very exciting. This is about fuel grasses of various sorts. Mint straw with sand. Well, anyway, I'm going to keep working on this. There'll be a few more shows before I get this sewage stuff done. Thanks for watching the Scannell Agenda. Thank you very much.